Good evening, folks. I want to say good evening, and I hope everybody had a safe weekend. How you doing, Richard?
Real good.
Yeah, folks, the title of this show is Don't Believe the Hype, or Don't Believe What They Tell You, or Don't Believe What's Told You. And the reason why I say that is because when I said they, I'm talking about anybody that has an ulterior motive. And in other words, they have a motive. They're trying to promote a personal agenda. When a person is trying to promote a personal agenda, they don't care anything about the law. They don't care anything about their community. They don't care anything about the people or serving the people. One thing about this city, this county, this state, and this country is that this is a democratic, it is a democracy, meaning for the people, by the people. It's sad when you have a lot of politicians that don't believe that or have anything that or think that they can just come in and do what they want to do. They become arrogant, they become nasty, they become short-tempered. I'm going to tell you what happened to me yesterday. And then we're going to get back with the show. Yesterday I had to go to Birmingham, Alabama. And when I went to Birmingham, Alabama, I had a court case up there. We had a court case where we haven't seen Korea's son. I haven't seen my son since last year. It's been almost a year since I saw him. And so what, I'm kind of like getting a little distracted a little bit, so y'all kind of like forgive me for that. But first, Lawson, before I go on with that, why don't you just tell us how your weekend is? And
Well, it's been a challenge because we had taken on some extra work that we really didn't need at the time, but we had to get it. When you're dealing with people in high position, they will not turn down certain jobs that maybe come up for them, but they don't need to do it, but they do it anyway. So when you volunteer or when you helping someone, you participate in what's going on to try to keep the program going right. And if you don't do that, you're not helping the program, you're not helping the people, so
That's right.
to speak.
That's right. And so I'm going to get back. What happened to us is that when we went to Jefferson County, we had to go to Jefferson County, Alabama. We had to go to the Jefferson County Courthouse Annex, Bessemer Division, and we had to go into family court. And when we went to family court, when we attempted to go in, we couldn't go in. And so immediately the officers became very, very rude. When they became very rude, well, see, here's how I am. It doesn't matter whether or not you're an authority over me or under me. I'm not going to let anyone be disrespectful to me or be rude. But this just was their attitude. You can't go inside. And so anyway, it led to me, it got so bad that I ended up calling the Alabama Attorney General. When I called the Attorney General, they turned me over to the Judiciary Inquiry. And I can tell you the people in mind telling me, I asked who, I said, how is it that we're not able to come inside? And they said they're a judge's order. And so when I called the Attorney General, they turned it over to the Judiciary Inquiry Commission. And folks, the reason why I complained and did what I did, one thing, I was being disrespected by a public servant. And another thing is that there was no consistency, meaning that circuit court in the same area right around the corner, you could go inside and you didn't have to have a mask. But right in this particular area here, they would not even let you inside. Folks, it was not even like that during COVID restriction. And so, in my opinion, it was an abuse of authority. And so when I went back inside, of course, me and those officers got into it again because I asked them their name. I have a right to ask their name. And they wouldn't give it to me. One gave it to me, became very pugnacious, aggressive, insulting, and one tried to hide and didn't want to give me his name. And I informed them that I had already called. They call it the 2121 bill, and this is internal affairs for the Jefferson County Sheriff Department in Birmingham, Alabama. I informed them that I had called. I informed them that I had also called the state Attorney General's office. I informed them that the Judiciary Inquiry Commission had emailed me a complaint form so that I can file it against that judge. And so when I went upstairs, immediately the judge laid into me saying that she just got a call from downstairs. And she said I was down there being something. Use a word, I don't remember what it was. But one thing that I did do, folks, like you all out there doing, I respectfully listened to the judge. And so, Dice, take it to him and let me handle this, please. Go ahead, put it on Richard. Richard, talk to the folks.
Okay. A lot of time, people's in a high position, they forget who they're serving. They are put in those positions to serve and protect you and your rights. They forget about you and your rights and start doing what they want to do with their desires and what they want to do, which is wrong. The Constitution makes certain statements to help peoples that are in powerful position to look out for the people. That's the law that was made way back to protect the poor people against tyranny. We have this type of attitude right here in this town and all over the United States. Tyranny. Why? Because they think they can do what they want to do, however they want to do it. Forget about what the Constitution says. And anytime an officer is sworn in, he's sworn to uphold the Constitution of the United States. When he go against that, he have become a lawbreaker himself because he's sworn to uphold something, and then he turn around and do not do that job.
That is right. And anyway, after I let the judge finish speaking, I said, "May I speak now, Your Honor?" And the judge stated, "Yes, you may." And immediately I began to speak. The first thing I said that I would like, see, this was a pro se petition that I filed in Jefferson County for visitation right, grandparent visitation. And so I immediately said, I'd like to inform the court that this is a motion for you to recuse yourself, to be removed. I said, because somebody's calling you from downstairs telling you something about me that's not true. And I admitted, I said, yes, I called internal affairs. Yes, I have. I said, yes. And I talked about everything I just told you about. I said, but Judge, you see how, and she interrupted me. Boy, you hear two bells say, bro, yeah, I see you was trying not to say she, but you went on, but you still ain't got a name. But anyway, she interrupted me, and first thing I told her, Richard, I said, Judge, Your Honor, I said, you notice how I listened to you, and I didn't interrupt you. I said, I appreciate it if you do me the same way. She said, the courts apologized. And folks, I can tell you, when I finished speaking to the judge, by the end, of course, we can say the bad dog. The bad dog is when you confront a person and you let them know where they've done something wrong to you. The good dog is when you say, hey, let's start over. I apologize. And so in the end, the judge became, in other words, for them to call upstairs to try to circumvent, and that's what they do. And I told that story so that you can know what they're doing around here. I am already told that the city attorney and Jimmy Smith, and you notice I'm not saying mayor because I don't have that respect for him as a mayor, folk. I'm having the same disrespect for him that I have for Percy Bland. Now, the only thing I like about Jimmy Smith is that we got him out of there, that we got Percy Bland out of there. We use him, folks. But Jimmy Smith, he's taking us back, folks, to Jim Crow. Jimmy Smith cannot care about this community at all, point blank. When he is so blatantly, arrogantly disrespectful to the citizens of Meridian, Mississippi, Lauderdale County, and the laws of the state of Mississippi, Code of Mississippi 1972, and the Mississippi Constitution till it's pathetic. He's already going around talking to city council folks, telling them that it's an attorney general's opinion, him and the city attorney, saying that they have attorney general's opinion, saying that it is okay for them to bring somebody back up for confirmation. No, it's not, city council. If anybody got, let me just explain a couple of things, Richard, and to you out there in podcast land. An opinion is all it is. I got one too. Has nothing to do with the law. Opinion, y'all know what they say about opinions. Everybody got one. An attorney general's opinion is not the law. He can give an opinion so that you don't break the law. But here's what I want to say to those city councilors. Jimmy Smith coming up talking to you, he don't know nothing about the law or anything. Simmons don't give a damn. He has an ulterior motive, folks. This is all about money. I don't care what nobody say, Richard. It's about money. Anytime a person will not care about the needs of the people, Jimmy Smith got that same attitude like the Republicans and big wheels in Washington, D.C. They don't give a damn about how much money they spend as long as they get something out of it. And this ain't right, Jimmy. It ain't right at all. You are a big disappointment to us. But you know what, Jimmy? I warned the people. I warned them. I let them know. I ain't even mad at you. Respect and anger is two different things. No, I do not respect you because you cannot care about the people. Look, Jim, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I can remember talking to you. I remember talking to Jimmy. Yeah. You know, when he first went to run, I was kind of excited, like a lot of you out there. And I called him up, and you know what he told me, folks? First of all, before we get started, I don't believe any of those trumped up charges they got against you and Lolo. I don't believe it. That's what he said, folks. But he ain't done a damn thing about it and gonna keep the same man that instigated the shit. But you know what, folks? They want the chaos. See, if they keep me and you arguing, keep me and Lolo in the news for something negative and something trumped up, you don't pay attention to the money they stealing. Exactly. You don't pay attention to the bonds that they gonna try to get approved with the Barry law firm. That's not what it is. I can give you the correct name, but we're going to call it that because Sherry Barry and her husband, Rick Barry, running things in Meridian, Mississippi right now. Folks, did y'all know that Ed Skipper, who was voted down by the city council, goes to work every day part-time? And every time, I'm told that Christy Walker sent an email to Jimmy Smith, sent a courtesy copy to Ed Skipper. Folks, what's all that about? How is that Ed Skipper, 80 years old now, 80 years old, still getting his money? So I think when you're that age, they don't take employment taxes from you. So any money he makes is free money. Why is it that Ed Skipper, who's unqualified to be anywhere other than chief financial officer or city clerk, that's his only qualification, folks, how is it that he gets to come to work every day? I can tell you what I'm told. Too best to tell me, bro, what you told. But I'm going to tell y'all, I'm told that Ed Skipper is really there to protect the white folks that's messed up with this illegal money and all this stuff that under the Percy Bland administration. I'm told that Ed Skipper ain't there to find out where the money at, but to hide the money in such a way if they're an auditor, the state auditor or somebody. Now, that's what I'm told now. I don't know whether it's true. I'm told that his job really is to go in there and bury that money in such a way that only then Ed Skipper done that job for the last 30, 35 years to Percy Bland fired him. So he knows how to steal the money and hide the money. That's my opinion. I'm not saying he stole any money. Before, and you know, if you think that I'm saying or doing something wrong, you know, they call it slander. Sue me. Sue me. But folks, this is really bad. City Council, I'm going to just warn you guys. Understand, if Jimmy Smith come and talk to you, it's got to be illegal. Because y'all should have what you call the open meeting law. I understand what the law say. If he's coming to talk to you to trying to get you to vote for something that has nothing to do with the people. Now, Ramonda Walker should just, I'm going to just tell you the truth, she should just resign. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because her son, his name is Martin Luther. They call him Mercy Walker. That's what he is on Facebook. He was involved in the shooting in September, if I'm not mistaken, let me get it right, it's September 6th of 2019. He was involved in that shooting where Johnny Collins was killed. Johnny Collins was with Ramonda Walker's son. Now understand, he was charged with statutory rape in April the 8th of 2002. He was charged with statutory rape, so he's a convicted felon. And they have him on camera, folks, shooting back at the people. It was a drive-by. You can Google it. It's drive-by killing. They call it the Hampton Shell. That's the Shell station of, we're going to call it Highway 19 or Highway 45 bypass right there by the interstate. That's where he was killed at. He was shot in the stomach, and by the time he got to the hospital, he was dead. But on video, the Meridian Police Department have where he was shooting back. So here you think where they come into my shop, and they get a gun out of the shop that belongs to my son, and they charge me with a felon with a handgun. So here, the same chief of police that y'all trying to get hired, that Ramonda Walker said nay, and then went back and changed it, saying yay. He was, in other words, the same chief of police is not doing anything about that, and they have it on video. Yeah, it's part of the evidence. And so, in other words, now I ain't fighting nobody for loving their children and doing all they can for them. But in my opinion, Ms. Walker is compromised because she came back. She told a lie. We showed that on the last on the last show. So I said she needs to resign because it'll be better. Now I'm gonna tell you what Chris Reed did. Chris Reed went to Q101, folks, and he stated that now you know when he was trying to get the job, he got plenty of job offers. But when he was on Q101, he said he's currently unemployed and looking for a job. He said that Miss Walker called him up and told him they misunderstood the vote. See, folks, corrupt people are not that smart. See, me and Two Belt never would have done that. See, what he basically admitted, folks, is that him and Miss Walker been talking. He put it in the cloud, on the air. He admitted that him and Miss Walker been talking about her vote. Miss Walker, go back and change her vote. Miss Walker, I strongly recommend you to resign. I don't think you'll do us any good. I'm just telling you that. We really didn't think so, but when you made your vote and said nay, we thought that you were the right person. But when you went back, that means that somebody getting in your ear. And Miss Walker, believe it or not, I'm telling you this out of all respect and just so that you can be okay. Because if you keep listening, the devil ain't gonna do nothing but whisper in your ear. You know, everybody's supposed to have a good devil, an angel on one side and a devil on the other side. Yeah. And both of them talking to you all the time. But then when you listen to Jimmy Smith and Simmons and George Summers, those are devils. And your pastor, LeBaron Hedgeman, if you listen to that hymn, those are devils. God already told you that you can tell the tree by the fruit it bears.
Yeah.
An apple ain't gonna make walnuts. You understand what I'm saying? So if a person is a liar, if a person is a cheater, if a person steals, you're listening to the wrong person. If that person's supposed to be a leader of a church and he's committing adultery, and not only committing adultery, making babies outside of the family, messing with other married women, and you're gonna listen at that? The whole congregation should just leave that church. They don't have to leave. Y'all keep y'all church. Run that rascal up out of there. They all learned that hustle from Bishop Luke Edwards. You know that, don't you?
No, I don't know much about it.
Bishop Luke Edwards is the first one that brought the hustle to the church.
I know about
it. And so, what is his name? Scotty Cole. There's another, they call him Beeve from back in the day. I forgot his name, but that's Mildred Lemon's son. They all started out at a church, and then they went to that church, and then LeBaron Hedgeman started Freedom Rock. But they all got that same hustle going. These are very smart, manipulative people. The only thing is about them feeding themselves. I got to say this to you out there, is that you're going to listen to a person that hustles you every Sunday. You don't have money to pay your light bill, water bill. They tell you to have faith. And you done have faith for 15 years, but your conditions ain't changed. You don't see anything wrong with that folk. The person that's got faith is the pastor himself. He have faith that every Sunday you going to come there, and every Sunday you going to give him your money. And every Sunday he going to leave, and you going to pay for him to eat. You going to pay his house note, his car note. You going to pay all this stuff, and he going to be telling you those same things about Jesus and being saved by the blood of Jesus. Now, it's got to be something wrong with that if your conditions haven't changed. If you continue to do something the same way and your conditions don't change, it's got to be something wrong with that. It's got to be something wrong with that. But I'm going to move on to my next subject, folks. We're going to open up the phone lines on the second part of this show. And the number to call in is 601-627-5318. 627-5318. Okay, but I want to go on and talk about that. Is something wrong with Ed Skipper working? So city council, do your job. Cut his salary off. White folks love money. He ain't going to work without money. And it's got to be, why do we have a person that's saying we can do better, but he got somebody coming to the city every day to help him do the job when he do come? There's something wrong with that. I got to talk about Jimmy Smith. You can't like this community. And I got to tell you now, Charlene, you know I love you for real. I mean, not like your husband do and your children do, and have a lot of respect for you. And I know a good woman stand by her man, but you can't stand by your man. Well, I ain't going to even say that. But I just, if y'all take it personal, you know, here I am doing the same thing again, Richard. Yeah. This is the very reason that Percy Bland put charges on me. Yeah. Because I ain't did nothing wrong. I'm just talking about law. I'm talking about factual information. So now I got another person there that's taking us deeper into the rabbit hole. And so now, me and you got some problems again. We do. We got some problems. Jimmy Smith been the mayor now for a while. He ain't told nobody to throw them trumped up charges away. Yeah. And it's sad when they do so many things to so many people. And we got to do better. I want to talk about the COVID vaccine for a little bit. And I want to say, let's just say that I stand by our governor, Tate Reeves. He said that adults should be able to make the decision for themselves whether or not to take the COVID. I stand by that. He said that they have this thing that they have, the Philadelphia, what they call it, when they go up there and have the festival every year or the fair every year, the Choctaw Indian Festival or whatever. Yeah, but either way, he spoke at that, and that's what he said. Mississippi is not under any kind of COVID mandate. Neither the state. Folks, I tell you, when you have people pushing for a COVID vaccine, you better look deeper than the fact that they saying we got a different variation. They call it the Delta variant. They telling you about people that have COVID came back down it again. All these are fear tactics, in my opinion. I'm just not going to take it. Let's talk about the world population for a moment. You have over 6 billion people in this world. The world is actually overpopulated. And so they have always, ever since the early 40s and 30s and 50s, they look for ways of depopulating the earth or slowing down the population. And so this is me talking, Richard, is that how is it that people that don't give a damn about you, they don't even care anything, they're not doing anything, they gave you money and they paid everybody. And I'm going to tell you how they paid everybody, too, Bill. They paid everybody because they gave everybody the COVID check. So they paid the citizens. Now you understand that people like Walmart, the people that own the business, all that money end up in their banks and in their pocket. But not only that, folks, here's another thing they did. They reset the economy. Everything you buy now is a smaller, in the same box, but smaller. Go buy some eye drops and watch how small that vaccine tube is, but it costs the same thing. But in a lot of cases, things cost more too. So they reset the economy, so everybody got paid. Why is it that they're pushing COVID? You really think if the world is overpopulated that they really care so much about, now let's just talk about black people and old folks. Do you realize that they brought us from Africa and they kept us enslaved for 200 years? And then after slavery ended, they kind of like with the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, they outlawed slavery and made it legal at the same time through incarceration. Then Jim Crow laws sprouted up all over America. Now, what I'm trying to point out to you is they don't care about black folk. Even now, when you find black people in position of power, such as like Jimmy Smith, doesn't care anything about black folks at all. Jimmy Smith don't give a damn about black folk at all, period, point blank. Even some of the folks that helped him got in office, he's arrogant to them. But he ain't arrogant to them white folk. And it's got to be something wrong with that. But I'm trying to point out is that the first thing they said is that we going to treat the most vulnerable part of the population first. Black folks and minority and old folks. Black people now, young and old, we get to go first. So how is it that somebody done been killing us and destroying our lives and don't do shit for us now care so much about us that they want us to live? Now let's talk about the DNA and the RNA. Now that's your message part of the DNA. So they got some stuff that's going to manipulate your RNA, change it around and go in there to your DNA and instruct it how to protect you against the COVID vaccine. Do y'all really believe that? Y'all better Google and look at the people that are dying from it. The people that are dying after they get the second dose. Looking at the people that dying within first week of this dose. You'd better go and look at it. Why? You don't know what the long-term effects of this. They don't have to. The Supreme Court may take away the right to a woman, Roe versus Wade. They might say it's unconstitutional. They don't really care if they have a COVID vaccine that's going to sterilize you or sterilize your children. You understand that it's going to mess with your DNA. If you're young enough to have a child, you're going to pass that to your child. You understand? So the long-term effect of this, in my opinion, is depopulation. Yeah. And so, folks, if you want to take the COVID, take it. But one thing that Rankin Easton sent me a message. And how you doing, Rankin? Rankin really should be in politics. And not only her, it's a lot of you out there that should. Because a lot of you out there really care about this community and care about how things go. But she told me to look on the web page for G.W. Carver Middle School.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, GW stands for George Washington. It's George Washington Carver Middle School. That's what Carver over there off, I think that's 44th Avenue. And we're going to call it 8th and 9th, probably about 9th Street and 44th Avenue. That's George Washington Carver. Do you know, folks, that they have on their webpage is they said that parents, students, and children should take the COVID vaccine before they come back to school. See, that's a play with words. See, folks, but I'm gonna let you know that should is not shall, should is not mandatory. What they're trying to tell you to do something, so you got everybody. You got even black folks. It's illegal for them to tell you to take a COVID vaccine because it's not within state law. You can Google this stuff and you can see what are the shots that's mandated for you to take prior to going to school. Don't let somebody over there that have an ulterior motive that maybe been paid to say that or for whatever reason, I don't understand it. But nobody should be telling you what you should do. Make those decisions about yourself. If you want to take it, fine. If I die from the COVID, okay, you can't kill me, Richard. They didn't know that. They can't kill me. Dice, they can't kill me. I got 21 children. I don't even know how many grandchildren I have. You cannot kill me. It's a piece of me in each and every one of my offspring and their offspring. I've already created a legacy. You can't kill me. But I got to ask you this. Do you really want to send me to jail? Do you really want to send somebody as smart as me, right? I ain't going to eat your damn food. Shit, I'm going to be preparing my own food. I don't care. However I got to do. But I'm sure, ooh, Richard. But I ain't going anyway because I ain't going to jail for something I didn't do. I'm just not going to do it. But I want to get back to talk about Jimmy Smith. Not only that, folks, let's look at what Jimmy Smith did. Jimmy Smith made Scott Solid interim community director, whatever it is. Community Development Director, that's what it is. Made him the interim director. When you have Stephen Red, who has a PhD. Folks, this ain't right. This is just not right. And damn it, guess what he do then? He's getting ready to go up for nomination to make Craig Hitt a racist, white, old male Republican that used to be Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith, he didn't go head to head with, and that's the reason why we fired Jimmy Smith back then, because he stopped looking out for our best interest. And was buddy with the Republican Party then, and Craig Hitt used to be a supervisor right here in Lauderdale County, folk. This man here does not have the education or the qualification that Stephen Red had. What the hell wrong with you, Jimmy Smith? Why you can't give a job to a black person? I guarantee you, if Sheriff Berry and Rick Berry had not told you to give that job to Dustin Markham, he would not be our judge. You ain't doing that because you want to. You doing that because you told to do it. Now, I'm glad Dustin's there because I think he'll make a fine attorney. But you still got to look at the way it happened. And, folks, you know, like, it's sad. Craig Hitt just should not get that job. I just hope the governing authority continue. People that are not qualified, I don't care. Now, I'm told that he's the community development director for Kemper County. So that means he don't live here in Lauderdale County anymore. That he live in Kemper County. Little small community, what the little Kemper County, what, about 30,000 people? Too bad it might not even be but 3,000 folks. I don't know, but it's not like Meridian, Mississippi. Maybe he's the community development director for DeKalb or something. I don't know, but whatever it is, he's still not more qualified than Stephen Red, because Stephen Red been on this job since he been here, probably about 6 years, and he has a PhD in this. So, Jimmy, what's wrong with you giving qualified people these positions? And Chris Reed. I got to talk about Chris Reed for a minute, and we'll take a break. I want to talk about Chris Reed. The reason why I want to talk about Chris Reed, won't you just go ahead on, folks, you know what? Now, too bad, I just got to tell y'all this, and I'm going to let you speak a little bit. I want to say this about Chris Reed. Now, it's been millions of dollars taken off of that interstate. Millions. Now, Chris Reed, as a patrolman, folks, living in a trailer, wife's a substitute, not even a substitute teacher, but a teacher's assistant in Clarksdale or whatever that little going toward equipment. They go from living in a trailer to building a brick house. Wow. Have y'all seen the boat that he got off for sale? That's the kind of boat that probably costs about $8 or $9. Too bad it might cost $200,000 or $300,000. But my point is, neither he nor his wife have earned that kind of money. So I've always told you how they take money and dope off the interstate and convert it to personal use. Now, I can tell you something else I was told about Chris Reed too, that when he took off for 2 years, that he really didn't go anywhere because he had collected so much money from the interstate that he just took 2 years off, but didn't really go anywhere. Now, that's what I was told, so I'm telling you guys that. But I want to say this to Chris Reed. Chris Reed, when I came to serve you, you would not even come out and see me. Now you begging folks for that job back for more than one reason. You need the money, another reason because you're crooked and corrupt. And he's still here, and for Jimmy to want to maintain that, and Jimmy, now I can tell you what it looked like. You're making it seem like that you come in taking the sack too, Jimmy. If you took the sack 20 years ago, you can't continue to do that now. It seemed like that. I'm just telling you, Richard, anything you want to say?
A lot of time, people in power with big money, they control the small people. If you want money, if you want possessions, if you want more, bigger things, they will put this out there in front of you for you to want it. Money is a chain around your hand. Money is a chain around your neck. Everybody is in chain when they want money. What you mean? That's just the way it works.
Yeah, and it just should not be like that. Folks, you know, I want to read you know, like in the comment section, we always had this person that, and they said something before, and they leave something in the comment. I want to tell this person I appreciate anybody leaving the comments. I don't care how negative they are or what they is, but I want to read this to you guys. After watching the last show, this person here, who's, I'm going to just say his YouTube name is Betty Oltremari. Bettyoltremari. Betty Oltremari. That's the name this person used. And this is what it said. Tiger Woods plays golf. And he put a fist up there. I don't even know what that means. Oh, I guess Tiger Woods, a black man to play golf. You can't talk about the deviation of the norm and make that a fact. See what I'm saying? Because I talked about the golf course wasn't for us.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods, the only person in the state of Mississippi that's black besides Marshall McKee and what his name that ran your uncle, what his name? Al. Yeah, Al. I know 5 people in this. No, it might be more than that, you know, but it's not that many. The population of Meridian is 34,000, not 34. Understand? And the majority of that population in the city of Meridian is black, about, in my opinion, about 80%. Tiger Woods plays golf. Has anyone asked Stephen Redd if he wants the job? I'm just asking. Lots of weekend hours required for that job, and not everyone wants to work weekends. Well, one thing about it, when Scott Solly got the job, he wasn't even in Meridian at all. He was in China somewhere. But this is what Eddie Holt said. I don't mean to insult you, but you are either blind by your own racial ignorance or lacking in in-depth cognitive ability. In other words, you fail to understand or question several facts. Number one, Assistant Community Development Director Dr. Redd has a PhD. Code Enforcement Officer Scott Solly, and that's all the way at the bottom of the latitude belt, does not have a degree. He is also unqualified. He is also an unqualified white male. Dr. Redd is a highly qualified, educated black man. Number two, Scott Solly was the last person hired as community development as a code enforcement officer. There are 3 black males and 1 black female that has more seniority than he does. You fail to mention any of these facts, yet your flippant and callous remarks are an insult to all educated and hardworking folks that expect to be rewarded for their educational attainment, experience, hard work, and seniority on the job. And folks, that's how I responded. And when I did that, that was checkmate. No response from him then. See, talking about Tiger Woods play golf. See, that's flipping. And then talking about Dr. Redd, is he doing the job now? He's doing it. If it was too much for him, he wouldn't be the assistant. True. He's doing the job now when you don't have one. You can't talk about the obvious racism, the violation of law. You're an educated person. Folks, I'm finna tell y'all who Betty Oltremari is. Okay, I'm gonna say his name right, you know, because sometimes I go back to my pre-educated days. I think it's Oltremari. Betty Oltremari is Jerome Kittrell, the president of East Mississippi Realtors Association. It's easy to find out. I just Googled it and went there and read it up, and everywhere it is, I'm the president of this. And so here you have a white male Republican taking up for other white male Republicans, educated or not. And look, kudos to you. Kudos to you. And the reason why I'm saying kudos to you because you're looking out and taking up for your kind, something Jimmy Smith ass is not doing. And then Jimmy Smith, man, what's wrong with you? You know, I told my brother Kirk about this in Alabama. I said, man, you wouldn't believe about Jimmy Smith. He doing a good job, man. I said, shit, he's taking us deeper in the rabbit hole. He said, what? He said, damn, that's what he did back then. And my brother just shook his head. Because him and Joey talk all the time. Both of them still live in Birmingham. Yeah. Joey live in Center Point and Kirk live in Birmingham. Both of them in Jefferson County. Man, my brother was just very disappointed. But then he said, when I told him how Jimmy putting white folks over black folks, Jimmy don't even care about qualifications. And this just ain't right. So I imagine I might get some more trumped up charges on me. I'm just telling you the truth.
Anything can take place at any time. It's always like that.
We're going to take a break, folks, and when you come back, we're going to open up the phone lines for you to call in and give your comments. Dice, man, take us to break. Folks, welcome back to Reaching Out with Eddie. Folks, you know, like people, believe it or not, all over the United States watch this podcast, such as George Mitchell out in Las Vegas and Kim. What's Kim's last name, Dice? Kim Franklin in Kokomo, Iowa. Indiana? Yeah. I don't know where I get that Kokomo. I'm always getting it wrong, but Dice know. And then you have people in Alabama that's watching. But one of the things they ask me, and I'm not being specific, I'm just speaking generally and not necessarily the people that I just mentioned, is that do we have any qualified blacks in the state of Mississippi? Don't Jimmy know that there are qualified black folks in the state of Mississippi? Yes, there are qualified black folks in Meridian, Mississippi that are highly qualified. I can tell you one of the person that I mentioned several times on this podcast is Chris Scott. Chris Scott has, certificates for over 30 years in everything from everything that you can do in law enforcement. He's done it and done so. I say immaculately done so. And he left because under Chris Reed, he left because of the promotion of the white folks over blacks. And when you find out that the city of Meridian is facing lawsuit from Thomas Vann and from Lieutenant Rita Jackson and from myself hold up, we talking about Bunker Partridge. You have the previous Parks and Rec director. And also you have Eddie Holt. You have other lawsuits such as Loretta Allen. It's possible. What's the Magruder? Yeah, Magruder's going to be suing. And so you have all these lawsuits, and Jimmy Smith is not even addressing those lawsuits. And that's really bad that he not only won't address those lawsuits, he continues to perpetuate the same racism and blatantly, more so worse than Percy in my opinion, because Percy didn't come with 12 white folks. He came with a mixture. You know, cause had it been me, Richard, I'm just telling you the truth. We've been on apartheid for so long, there's no way that under all of their administration, the only person that we had, and that's when the city started becoming majority black, we ended up getting a black chief of police, but all the other department heads were white. Billy Joe Jones was retired, and he was more qualified than the people that was over him that was white. And he finally retired as the assistant Parks and Rec director. And so you have some qualified black people, such as my son-in-law, Arthur. Arthur Harris would make an excellent choice for a community service director. But Jimmy Smith is not looking at a black person, period, for these jobs. He don't care what kind of education they have. And if he like you or he know you or he done made a deal with you or you contribute to his campaign, then the next thing you know that you get these jobs. And that's what's wrong with our community, folks. What's wrong with and Dice, open up the phone lines. Folks, the phone lines open up, you can call in. What's wrong with Meridian, Mississippi? The reason why people are leaving, we're not educating our children. Crime is very high because we keep putting uneducated people in qualified position. Uneducated people do things such as lie, cheat, and steal. Uneducated people take a city down deeper into the rabbit hole. Yes, and I'll continue to use that vernacular. And you hear me talking about cognitive ability, and Dice, we're going to read those comments too in a minute. And so I kind of wanted to define that, and I use that in my answer to, okay, well, we got the caller calling in, so we'll go ahead on and take this caller. Okay, caller, you on the podcast with Richard and Eddie.
Hello, Eddie. How are you? And Diceman and Richard.
Hi.
We're
Hello.
doing
This is
fine.
Levi's sister, Felicia.
Who is
Oh,
this, Sadie?
Felicia Brown.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
this Levi Gibbs. So, hey there, how you doing? What's up, cuz?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I was just wanting to clear up something on your podcast about Chris Reed back in maybe a month and a half ago when he went on WTOK TV and said that they had gave my brother 10 years for a gun charge. I'm
Right.
not going to go into details right now. I'm going to wait till I get it in black and white so you can read it over the air. But
Uh-huh.
my brother just had court last Friday on that same charge that Chris Reed got on TV and said that they gave him 10 years. He wasn't sentenced at that time. He just got sentenced last Friday. So Chris Reed told a big bald faced lie on that part because he didn't get 10 years. But once I get you the paperwork, you'll be able to read it out over your podcast. But what Chris Reed said was a lie because he just went to court last Friday on July the 23rd.
And you know because you was in there, am I right?
I was there. My sister-in-law was there. Well, she's be on this podcast too, but she's not going to speak because she's ashamed.
All
And
right.
my niece, Pookie Hobson. We all three of us was there. So Chris Reed told a big bald-faced lie on that part. I do know that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for calling in, Felicia. And what Chris Reed did, folks, is that he used that like, hey, we're doing our job. Levi gives this, but he just lied. And you know when they always said, my grandmother always told me, say if you scratch a lie, you'll find a thief. Well, and you want to promote that. And so again, thank you for calling in, Dice. You ready to read some of those comments?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Richard, you got anything to say?
No, right.
Okay, all right.
Okay. See here, we got Felicia Brown says, "Hello, everyone. Just know God is always good."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Felicia that's calling in, and you're right. Richard, you got something to say about that Reverend Lofton?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He can take you down, but he gonna always bring you back up. He's trying to mold you to listen to what he wants you to do.
Okay.
All right. We got Ellen Franklin says, "Good evening, peeps."
What's up, Marie?
What's up, Miss Franklin? Fred Welch says, "Good evening, fam."
What's up, Fred? Y'all know Fred came out okay. He came out
That's
okay.
good.
He did. He came out okay Friday, and I think it had a lot to do with this podcast and us talking about people corrupting a government procedure, using the law in the wrong manner.
Yeah.
But anyway, he came out okay, and I gotta say kudos to that Denson Law Firm again. Joseph Denson is doing very well, and so the Denson Law Firm again, that's who his lawyer was. And what I say about the Denson Law Firm is that when they violate your rights, the Denson Law Firm is going to do everything. They're going to work to that 13th hour to ensure that your rights are not being violated and that you're not being railroaded to jail. So we got to say thank you to that Denson Law Firm, and I'm glad you're okay, Fred.
Okay. Stacy Dixon says, "Good evening, everyone."
Hey, Stacy.
Hey, that's Stacy. And Randall Jennings says, "Dr. Carter, MPSD." So he was just adding to that list that you were naming, the list of folks you were naming.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
And that's it. I want to give my condolences out to the Hardy family, the Cryer family, the Brown family. Lost my first cousin yesterday. Man, it's been a hurtful
Can you give the
thing.
cousin's name or you don't
Yeah,
want to?
her name is Sandra Hardy. She's originally a Brown, but lost her, man, and it's nothing like it. So I apologize to you guys about that song during the break. I've been off a little bit with everything that I've been doing. So just want to give my condolences to the family. She's going to really be missed, man.
Richard?
Listen to what you said, but I see your walk as you go away from us.
Yeah. I want to say this in closing, and then I'm going to close out. I want to thank you guys for listening. And I want to say this to the governing authority. Cognitive ability. Use your cognitive ability to make sure that you are okay. Cognitive qualities is a condition. When your cognitive ability is a condition of the brain, and the things that it does, it compels you to think, to learn, to listen, understand what it is that's being told to you, or what you're reading, or what you're seeing. Also, justifying your action. Also, questioning actions. Also paying close attention. I want to thank you guys for listening. Y'all have a good evening. Dice Man, take us home.